Hey, what's up y'all? Future Soul here, just giving a quick heads up for those of you that didn't see the previous video before this one, that this one is a little outdated. I recorded this one literally a day before they announced that we were getting a story trailer for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. However, I feel like there was just enough information in this one, or at least opinions in this one, that it wouldn't destroy everything. So, I'm putting this one out anyway, and we'll get back to our regularly scheduled program maybe the day after or something like that. Depends on when I have time for the next video. But we're gonna get back on the grind. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy. Take it away past me. Hey yo, what's good though? Soul here, and welcome back to my story mode. Now, usually at this point in time, I would start the video off by apologizing for disappearing for another like 2 weeks or something like that, but in reality, does it really matter? We're here, I've got a lot of things to talk about with you guys, and we're gonna damn right talk about them, because this game is only really under 2 months away. So you've already seen the title and you've seen the thumbnail. It's no mystery as to what we're talking about today. However though, I do have to be completely honest. The script that I wrote here is very dated. I wrote this well before any of the recent trailers that we've had. The funny thing about that though, is that it still works. It's still in effect because we know literally nothing about the story whatsoever. There's another video that I plan to record right after this one, but after scrolling down and finding this whole entire finished script, I was like, you know what? I never really got to talk about my own personal wishes regarding the story for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And now that we know that we have 3 possible storylines, there is a lot of potential here for it to be really, really good, or really, really problematic and short and boring or something. But you know what? That's just the risk we take with Pokemon. By this point, we've talked about pretty much every different aspect regarding the story of Generation 9, the possibility of the rivals, the evil teams, etc. Nothing too specific since we have no idea what this generation is going to bring us story-wise. However, while we're still currently in the dark about it, I would like to talk about some of my hopes and wishes regarding this upcoming story. Now, usually I would have a list of things that I do want and a list of things that I don't want, but it seems here that I actually just listed individual things, whether those things be good or bad in my eyes. I listed them separately, so we're gonna talk about them in like little chunks. For starters, I want actual stakes involved in the story. For those of you that don't know what that means, basically all I'm saying is, I want there to be a problem that if it's not actually solved within a reasonable amount of time, it could cause problems for the people involved in the story and possibly the world. The last real threat that I can think of in an actual Pokemon game, and I don't even know if this counts really, was in 6th gen. Lysander? Like Sandre? Big spiky lion hair dude wanted to reset the entire world. And I don't even remember what his goal was, but you know what? That's pretty damn dangerous if I do say so myself. In reality, if he wasn't stopped, it would have been a problem for the entire Pokemon universe. And you know what? That's fine. I can rock with that. Team Flare definitely wasn't memorable, but you know what? Their boss was dangerous. I'll take what I can get. Now, I'll be completely honest, and this may upset a couple of you, but when it comes to 7th gen, I simply don't recall what the actual threat was, because first off, my memories for Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are completely intertwined, meaning I don't know what goes where. Lusamine had an infatuation with the Ultra Beasts and wanted to bring them over to the world of Pokemon that we know as it is. If that was actually that much of a bad thing is completely beyond me, because Ultra Beasts are just alien Pokemon. They can be tamed just like any other legendary or any other regular Pokemon, to my understanding, since we can actually use the Ultra Beasts. So, are they actually a danger? I have no idea. Now, when it comes to Necrozma was kind of threatening, but I don't really think it was it Destroy the Earth threatening? I don't remember. I played Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon one time way back, and simply put, I didn't really feel like the stakes were all that crazy. You know, doing with interdimensional stuff, I think we went to another dimension to fight Necrozma. I'm like, man, just leave it there at that point, like, just let it do its thing, you know? Anyway, point is, while the plot generally speaking was definitely more interesting than whatever 6th gen had to offer, it still really wasn't strong enough to be one of my favorites, and 8th gen story being one of the weakest in the series so far. Hence why the story coming up next has to be really strong in terms of stakes. I want an actual genuine problem that needs to be stopped for the sake of the world, or at the very least for the sake of Pokemon or people. Give an actual enemy a realistic plan that's somewhat reasonable to where you're actually thinking about it. Like, I see your point, but it can't happen this way. That's not gonna work, and they have to be stopped before somebody or everybody gets hurt or destroyed. I think that it's time to go back to putting people and Pokemon in danger again at the very least, so that we actually have something to worry about. In the previous game, it just felt like none of it needed to happen. I don't want to have that feeling again. Let's correct that. Granted, the world has already been endangered every way from Sunday at this point, so I'm not expecting the most unique and original take for this game's plot or anything like that, but something to worry about for the story during the game would be nice. That's all I'm saying. The next thing that I'm really hoping for is that the enemies are actually more involved throughout the story. It's been a very obvious and common problem for a couple of these games lately to just save everything until the final hours of the main game. We're introduced to the game, we get like one badge, and oh, they're causing some serious issues around town. Let's beat a couple of them up and make them run away. And then we don't see them again for a long while. Maybe after a couple of badges here and there, but other than that, nah. And then once you get your 7th badge, it's some crazy random story overload. I bring this up now because as of late, it's been an actual genuine issue. It wasn't the worst thing in Generation 7, but we weren't even fighting the real enemy until the end of the game there. And in Generation 8, we weren't fighting any enemies at all until the very end. And even in Pokemon Legends, there wasn't really an opposing force whatsoever besides Dialga and Palkia, which we didn't see until the very end of the main game. Now here's the thing, we already have confirmation that we're getting 3 separate storylines, and one of them is solely to focus on the Gym Challenge, which is great. This means that at least one of the 2 plots here are focusing solely on the main story. How this is going to work and how long it's going to be, considering the fact that for once it's not interweaved in the whole gym badge system, is completely up in the air. What this does mean though is that as long as you're pursuing that story, you will be running into antagonists left and right. You're gonna little by little find out what their plan is and stop them as they're going, and that is all I want. I just want the enemies to be more involved. When it was intermingled with the gym challenge, they were able to get away with developing around that because we already had something else to focus on. But as its own sole storyline, they have really no excuse for us not to run into more antagonists and opponents. So, all I'm saying is, at the end of the day, as long as the enemies and the antagonists and everybody is actually involved and doing something, I'm rocking with it. Now this kind of brings me into my next point, and that point is I really do want other strong trainers to actually be involved in this. Now what's funny about this is that this thought actually stems from 4th gen. When you first enter Eterna Forest, you know, the place with the godliest music in all of Pokemon, you run into a trainer named Cheryl. When you first get in there, she asks you for help to get through the forest because there's a lot of Pokemon and strong trainers in there that's a lot to deal with on her own. You help her through the forest and eventually reach Eterna City. Once she walks past those trees, you do not see this woman again until post-game. So think about this with me for a second. We have Cheryl, obviously a trainer, obviously a decent trainer that wants to become stronger, and she wants to become stronger to the point where she actually participates in the battle tower. So why is it that she just disappears? Why create this character and have her completely disappear? If there's a problem going on, you would think that other trainers involved with the gym challenge would want to see what the heck is going on and interfering with things, right? Cheryl could have been great to pop in every now and again during the story of Diamond and Pearl. Why wasn't she utilized? Now this obviously isn't the biggest offense in this regard, but this is one of the first times that I really noticed it during my replay of Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. And then on top of that, there's the more obvious argument that's been happening for years. How come they haven't done something like that since Generation 5, where all, or at least a very good chunk of the gym leaders within the region actually came through to put a stop to N's plans and Getsis and whatever. I'm pretty sure I'm a broken record when I'm saying this because we've talked about it a multitude of times by now, but as some of the strongest trainers in the region, when the world is in danger, where are you in that moment? What are you doing not proving yourself to be one of the strongest trainers? Does that not make sense? I'm just saying two things here. One, if I were deemed one of the strongest trainers in the region, strong enough to actually be considered a checkpoint for trainers on their journey, if there was something going on in the world, I would have some kind of responsibility to check that out and take care of things, no? And two, the designs for these characters are so immaculate and so well done that it is always a crying shame when they are completely underutilized, especially the gym leaders, the Elite Four, and the Champion. Most of the gym leaders in pretty much every Pokemon game has their own unique personality and set of Pokemon. So, just saying, if we're doing that again, why not actually utilize them in the story, give them a place to actually do something and help out. Even if we beat them in battle, it's not like it has to be the last time that we see them. And hey, now there's really no excuse not to introduce them in the story because those things are completely separate. Maybe in their off time they're wandering around the region and they're actually running into these problems that they have to deal with, and sometimes they need the main character, us, to come through and help out too. Anyhow, by now, you get what I'm getting at. Now this next one I'm not going to spend too long on because we've talked about it in the past before, but I do want to see some real development. And again, I'm not just talking about the story, but I'm talking about the characters. Now after revisiting 8th Gen, I could see why a lot of people actually weren't all that mad with Hop. Despite his odd career choice and the things leading up to it, he did develop a little bit. He didn't want to be recognized as only the little brother of the unbeatable champion. And you know what? That's a phenomenal setup for him. I like that energy. So why don't we keep it and maybe even utilize it for other characters too? We've already seen the potential in these designs for all of these other characters that are supposed to be part of our class or also participating in the big treasure hunt situation. I want these characters to learn, mess up, and grow stronger and better so that by the end of the game, if we're fighting against them in some big tournament or if we're fighting alongside them when we're fighting the big bad enemies of the game, they've come a long way. They've learned. They've really strengthened their team in a way that you wouldn't expect because they actually learned from their mistakes and got better. Who am I kidding? You guys aren't 5. You know what development is, right? So, you get what I'm getting at. And like I said, I don't want to keep talking about that because we have gone over and over and over that for quite some time now. So, let's move on to my final thought here. Now this one, overall, is probably definitely going to be a stretch. However, I'm still going to ask for it. I want some more unorthodox scenarios. What I mean by that is I want situations to happen that wouldn't normally go down in a Pokemon game. For example, what about some kind of prison break? Maybe the player character loses and we get thrown into some enemy team holding cells. And obviously some BS miracle would happen where either maybe our rival or some mythical Pokemon would break us out of the cage and we would get all of our stuff back and battle our way out of the prison. But you see what I'm saying? That's never happened in a Pokemon game before, at least not to my knowledge. Or as a matter of fact, what if someone else is taken hostage and we have to go help them out? I don't remember if this is a thing that's happened before. I'm sure it has, but it was definitely not memorable. So maybe kidnap our mom or something. Have her be more involved in the story a little bit and see what her kid is actually going through here. Now again, I did write this a while back, so one of the scenarios that I wrote down here, I'm not sure about anymore because we do know a little bit more about the game, so I'm not sure anything like this would happen. But as an example, it would be really cool if there was like a parade going on in one of the bigger cities, and all of a sudden, there's some kind of big attack. And all of the top trainers in the school or something like that actually hops in to help, you being one of the top trainers. Now that one is definitely a stretch, but I think you guys get what I'm getting at. I want something that the series wouldn't try under normal circumstances. I want big memorable events that actually make my jaw drop, if that's possible. I want to walk away from this game, talk to somebody else that's beaten it and be like, oh man, my favorite part was definitely this insane event during the story. Because frankly, there's not really a ton of those. They have a big world here, and I'm really hoping that they utilize it properly to make some big memorable events that'll make me screech. But, I don't know, maybe I'm reaching a little bit on that one. You tell me. So that just about does it for my overall wants and hopes for the story of Generation 9. Now, one part of me feels like I'm asking for quite a bit already, and you know, we've probably been asking for a lot over the years as Pokemon fans that we've gotten in bits and pieces here and there. But at the same time, when it comes to the story, I don't really feel that we're asking for enough sometimes, because I want some real change, something different from the norm of a regular Pokemon game story. One of my biggest issues with the Pokemon series is that for 90% of the games, I spend playing them waiting for the story to get started, and 9 times out of 10, it never shows up. So if it does show up this time, cool, awesome. If it doesn't show up this time, hey, I can't say I'll be surprised. I'm sure I'm gonna be like everybody else, just excited to go around catching Pokemon again, like the kids we are, man. Alright, so you stand right here for a second. Just stand there. Alright, check this out. I'm gonna wave my arms, right? Start waving them with me. There you go. Yeah, keep that going. Keep it going. You see that spork? Yeah, that's magic, baby. Yeah, keep it going. Yep. There we, oh, look at that light shot. We summoned the mic from an entirely different dimension. Isn't that crazy? Now, be careful with this thing because it's insanely unstable, but I'm gonna hand this to you. You turn it on, and you go ahead and tell me what your thoughts are on your hopes and wishes regarding the story for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Do you think that it's gonna be good? Do you think that it's gonna be bad? Do you think that the triple plotline situation is really gonna help it? What are your thoughts? I want to know everything because you know for a fact that I am going to be down there with you guys in the comment section without a doubt. And with that, I guess there's nothing else to say, so I'm going to go ahead and skedaddle on out of here. I would like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this here. And with that, I'm going to get the hell up out. Thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor, taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!